Briscoe's Megastore, Drogheda.
Yes, you're very welcome along to United Park for this SSE Airtricity League First Division game between Drogheda United and their visitors this evening, Cove Ramblers. David Sheehan with you on lmfm.ie and also on the Drogheda United YouTube channel. You're very welcome along to United Park, and what's a very chilly evening. Certainly a vast change in the weather from the last time I was here a couple of weeks ago. A lot colder, and certainly the autumnal winds coming in as well. Both sides out on the pitch, as you can see, and the referee and his two assistants. Referee tonight, incidentally, is Mark Lynch. He last took charge of the Drogheda game when they had that 3-3 draw against Athlone Town a few weeks ago, and he's assisted by Darren Corkin and Kieran O'Reilly this evening. As I said, quite a blustery evening, and both sides just getting themselves ready. Both players are out, sets of players are out warming up for quite a while, and it's a sort of evening where you would need a good warm up. The Cove Ramblers bus arrived outside United Park at around about 6:30. And a long journey for them, of course, coming up from Cove for this game, but they'll be hoping to shake off the cobwebs after that warm-up. And they're in good form as well, Cove. Of course, not doing too well in the grander scheme. When you look at the table, they lie in 6th place on 11 points from their 8 games. They are 6 points behind Drogheda United, who are in 2nd place. But Cove have had 2 back-to-back wins in the First Division. Their last 2 games, they had a 2-0 win against Longford and a 4-0 win against Wexford. They were, of course, out in the FAI Cup last weekend. They were beaten 2-0 by Dundalk down in St Coleman's Park. Drogheda United, of course, for their part, had that rather heartbreaking defeat to Derry City, but they put in a very positive performance, and I'm sure Tim Clancy and the players will have taken a lot of confidence from that one. Just before we get underway, I can tell you there are 2 changes on the Drogheda United team from the team that started against Derry City. David Odumosu, as you would expect, comes back in between the posts, and Chris Lyons comes in for Jack Chute. Of course, a change of formation today for Drogheda, going back to their 4-3-3. They feel it's something of a more defensive lineup last week, a kind of a 5-3-2 when they hadn't got possession, and a 3-5-2 when they had. But Chris Lyons comes back into the side. Jack Chute, a late withdrawal from the squad with a knee injury, so he doesn't play tonight. And for Cove Ramblers, well, 2 changes for them from the team that played against Dundalk. It's Nathan Coleman, or rather 1 change, I'd say. Nathan Coleman comes in for Conor Drynan, and otherwise the team remains unchanged from the one that started against Dundalk in the FAI Cup. We'll run you through both sides once we get underway. But as I said, just those 2 changes for Drogheda and 1 change for Cove Ramblers. Mark Lynch, as I said, is the referee. Drogheda United, a very good recent record against Cove Ramblers as we get underway here. They've won their last 7 games against Cove. You have to go back to 2016 to that First Division playoff for the last time Cove had a win. That was a 2-1 win here at United Park, but it was immaterial really, as Drogheda had a 2-0 win from the first leg of that playoff and went through. But underway here, and it's David Odumosu, who, along with Conor Kane, has played every minute of every league game for Drogheda this season, and they've been 2 of the cornerstones of what's been a fairly solid performance so far this season in the league. Of course, there was that massive break in between, and we're just back underway a few games now. This is just the 9th game of the league season for Drogheda United, and we're already into the closing stretch of the season, which is hard to believe. Of course, a truncated season this year, given everything that's gone on. And goal kick there. We'll quickly run you through the teams for Drogheda. It's David Odumosu in goals, a back 4 of James Brown, Derek Prendergast, Hugh Douglas and Conor Kane. It's Richie O'Farrell, Jake Hyland and Brandon Birmingham and Mark Hughes, and then Chris Lyons and Mark Doyle. So as I said, it's that familiar enough 4-3-3 that Drogheda have been operating with for quite a while now. 2 considerable enough success. They just haven't managed to make that breakthrough to get the promotion to the Premier Division, but the squad that they've assembled at this point in time is one of the stronger ones they've had for quite a while, so we would really hope for them that they get up this year, because I'm sure the vultures will be circling around some of the players in this squad should Drogheda United fail to make the jump to the Premier Division. And Cove Ramblers playing it across the back, as I said, not having a great season, just 3 wins, but as I said, 2 of those wins came in their last few games, so they're in good form coming into this one. Very quickly we'll run you through the Cove team. It's Sean Barron in goal, a back 4 of John Kavanagh, Ben O'Riordan, Charlie Lyons and Darrell Walsh. In midfield it's Ian Turner, Dave Hurley, Matt Coughlin and Stephen O'Leary, and up front it's Lee Devitt and Nathan Coleman. And here is Mark Hughes dropping deep to pick up possession, as he tends to do. You'll often see himself or Jake Hyland dropping back between the 2 centre backs, and often deeper than the 2 centre backs, to take possession and then look to play a diagonal ball. It didn't work out on that occasion, and it's a throw in for Cove Ramblers to be taken over on that far side of the field. And it's played in there to Stephen O'Leary in midfield, and now it's here with Ian Turner. He's back nicely to his centre back, and out on this near side is John Kavanagh, the captain this evening. And a good ball down the line, Ian Turner making the run after playing the original pass, and it's well intercepted by Derek Prendergast, who's had a solid start to his return spell here at Drogheda United. Of course, was at Shelbourne last year, gained promotion with them, but didn't live to see Premier League action or Premier Division action with Shells. Returning to Drogheda United, who he, of course, has served with some distinction in the past. Jake Hyland there in midfield, jumping for it. Stephen O'Leary getting the better of him. It's come all the way back ultimately to Sean Barron in a very bright black and yellow jersey, reminiscent of a Celtic away kit from many years ago, worn by Paolo Di Canio and George Cadet, and they've had another more recent iteration of that kit as well, but certainly stands out tonight. There's Mark Doyle with a little layoff, just wasn't on the same wavelength as Richie O'Farrell, and again it's back with Sean Barron. Knocks a long ball this time in the direction of Nathan Coleman. And Hugh Douglas, who's been in really good form of late. Took him a while to break into the team, to many people's surprise. In fact, Hugh Douglas, when he signed, would have been expected to go straight into the first team, but it seemed to take him a little while to break through, but he's certainly made a place his own in the last few games. He was very impressive here against Galway United a few weeks ago in what was a fairly dicey 1-0 win, but they got there. Drogheda wasn't their most impressive performance by any means, but they got the job done and got the 3 points, and they'll be keeping a close eye on the other games tonight, most notably the game between Bray and Cabinteely down at the Carlisle grounds. Cabinteely, of course, come here on Monday night, so that's going to be a real top of the table clash, regardless really of how results go tonight. Cabinteely 2 points clear of Drogheda at the moment. Both teams have played 8 games, and if both of them can get a win tonight, or if Drogheda could get a win and Cabinteely drop points, then that will make Monday night's game very interesting indeed. It will be interesting regardless, but certainly, depending on the outcome of the games this evening, could add an extra little bit of intrigue and spice to it. Here come Cove again, as I say, in decent form with those 2 recent wins in the Premier Division, in the First Division rather, and just suffered that defeat last week in the FAI Cup against Dundalk, but they won't be too concerned about that. Back to business here for them in the First Division. Here's Derek Prendergast, and again Mark Hughes coming deep, looking for possession, looking for someone to make a run. He's giving it back to Derek Prendergast to his left. Prendergast had a little bit of a heavy touch there, but comes out with it, and then his pass to Conor Kane is a little bit overhit, and the left back can't keep it in play. Throw in to Cove Ramblers. And we welcome, of course, any Cove supporters listening in this evening. It's a long trip to Drogheda at the best of times, and obviously in these circumstances not a viable one. So we do hope you're enjoying our coverage tonight, wherever in the country or indeed in the world you're listening to. A nasty clash of heads there. Richie O'Farrell and the referee straight away calling the physios on. I don't think there was any intent. Both players had their eyes on the ball, and we'll just wait and see if they're all right. Richie O'Farrell is just composing himself. He's nodding his head to say that he's okay. Cove player just taking a moment and just feeling the top of his head, and that was a nasty one. Both of them a little bit blindsided. O'Farrell is rubbing the back of his head, and the physio's gone into his bag. Might just have the water bottle out. Well, the foul is up and away, and he's referee's calling him back, telling him to go off and come back on. That's the formality. And it's Martin Coughlin, or Colin, whatever you're having yourself, who comes over to the near touchline as well. So both players look to be okay, which is a relief. It was a nasty enough looking collision, but both of them are alright, and they exchange pleasantries on the touchline. And they will be back in the action very shortly. Free kick meanwhile to Cove. Referee decided that it was O'Farrell who committed the foul there. It's knocked in by John Kavanagh, the captain. Flicked on. Wasn't quite the intention from Mark Hughes, but all he could do was get his head to it and knock it out for a throw in over on that far side of the field in front of the clubhouse. The Cove Ramblers. Martin Coughlin is back on. Happily recovered from that head clash. Long throw in, and up goes Hugh Douglas again, wins it in the air. It's come back to the edge of the box. A good strike there. It was Dave Hurley with the effort, with the unmistakable blonde hair and hairband. Hurley just couldn't quite keep that one down, and it's gone out for a goal kick to Drogheda United. And as I said, David Odumosu returning to the starting lineup tonight after being rested last weekend for that FAI Cup game against Derry City, and his deputy Ross Tracy very close to keeping a clean sheet, but two late concessions unfortunately for Drogheda put paid to their cup chances. Odumosu back in the starting lineup, as I mentioned earlier. Himself and Conor Kane played every minute of every league game for Drogheda this season. He's really grasped that opportunity to take the number one spot, albeit number 23 on his back, but he's made that goalkeeping position his own. Luca Gratzer, who's still recovering from injury, was the man in possession before Odumosu came to the fore, but it's very much Odumosu's jersey to lose at this stage. Over on that far side of the field, Cove looking to string some passes together. It was a nice ball by Dave Hurley, the man who had that shot a few moments ago, back into Coughlin, who is, as I said, recovered from that head clash. And it's Ben O'Riordan, plays a good ball across to his centre-back partner, Charlie Lyons. Cove playing some nice football here, looking to create some space. And it's just a matter of keeping possession for them at the moment. Hurley again with that left foot of his drives it over to this near touchline and was just very slightly overhit. Ian Turner did well to keep it in, but that was about all he was able to do. And Hurley certainly has a nice left foot, and then we heard Mick McCarthy last night use the expression wand of a left foot for Conor Howrahan. Hurley maybe not quite in that league, but he certainly has a nice touch about him when he gets the ball down on the ground, and here he is again. Just puts his foot through it this time around. It's come through to Prendergast, and Mark Doyle now coming deep for possession into Chrissy Lyons. His one touch layoff is a little bit off target, and even Conor Kane with his pace wasn't able to keep it in. It's a throw in for Cove Ramblers with 9 minutes gone here at United Park, 0-0 between Drogheda United and Cove. And here they go again, Ian Turner this time. And Cove have had the better of it so far. They look very comfortable in possession, and it's back in to Dave Hurley again. Plays it back. Let's come over to this near side of the field to John Kavanagh. His armband matching his boots this evening almost. Very bright colours. And it's, as I said, a decent start from Cove. And Drogheda United certainly will be favourites for tonight's game. Home advantage, the respective positions in the table. And Hugh Douglas, well, that wasn't even close to Conor Kane. Well overhit there from the ginger-haired centre-back. And he puts his hand up to apologise. So Drogheda United just a little bit off with their passing. A few one-touch layoffs have been well off their intended man, and just struggling to get their game going here. But early stages in this one, just 10 minutes gone here at United Park. No goals and no chances of any note really for either side. And as I said, the other games this evening: Athlone taking on Galway United. It's Bray versus Cabinteely, as I mentioned. UCD, who had that shock win against Cabinteely a couple of weeks ago, taking on Wexford, and Shamrock Rovers 2 facing Longford Town. So, as I said, it will be the Carlisle grounds that most Drogheda United fans will be keeping an eye on this evening to see if Bray can take some points off Cabinteely. Cabinteely themselves will be looking to bounce back from that 2-0 defeat that 3-0 defeat rather to UCD. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, it's a throw in for Cove Ramblers, and it's going to be John Kavanagh to take it, and it's inside. Dave Hurley plays it across to Martin Coughlin. His ball is back across to centre back Charlie Lyons. He plays a long diagonal ball in the general direction of John Kavanagh, but Mark Doyle was able to intercept it quite easily, and it's come back with Conor Kane. He just decides to put his boot through it and knock it long. Spins up in the air. There was a shower of rain or two in the hours before the game here, so the pitch is slick enough, and now it's with Brandon Birmingham down that far side, and he tries to get his cross in into the near post, and it was Chris Lyons who went for a kind of a, well, depending on who you've seen do it, a Nigel Clough style flick. I seem to remember him doing that many years ago, but there have been plenty of players who've tried that little flick over. Maybe Dennis Law, the most famous example of it, I suppose, many years ago for Manchester City against United. Didn't relegate Manchester United, as many people will know by now. It was widely reported for many years that was the case, but it was an attempt at that from Chris Lyons. Didn't quite work out for him, but nice play. It was the first real chance that Drogheda have created in this game, and it came from that good bit of play down the right hand side from Brandon Birmingham, getting his cross into the near post, and Lyons just unable to make contact with it, but a little bit more promising for the home side. And it's Jake Hyland standing over this free kick, and everybody, as is a common sight here now, bar the two fullbacks, have gone forward for it. Hyland whips in with his left boot in around the penalty spot, and it was Mark Doyle who got his head to it, and it was deflected off John Kavanagh, so it's gone out for a throw in to Drogheda United. And with just about 12 minutes gone here, still awaiting the breakthrough, and it's slack bit of play there from Drogheda, and it's going to be a throw in to the visitors, and knocked long down the line. It's Derek Flanagan. Looked like a handball there from number 14 Nathan Coleman. Indeed it is. Stuart Ashton's side have started quite well. Drogheda just starting to get into it a little bit now. They'll be looking for all 3 points. It's certainly a game they would expect to win, home side. But as we saw in the last game against Galway, you can take nothing for granted. They were lucky enough to come away with 3 points from that game, so they won't be taking anything as a given here. And it's a nice ball from Jake Hyland with his right boot. James Brown gets his cross in. It's come across to Richie O'Farrell, takes it down, gets it onto his right boot, has a go, and it was well blocked there. One of the Cove midfielders, I think it might have been Stephen O'Leary, who came back to get a block on it. And again, a little bit better from Drogheda United. Jake Hyland getting the ball down on the ground and playing a nice one out to James Brown, who, as is his wont, was pushing forward from his full-back position. It's going to be a corner, and Hyland will take it with his more often used left foot. Whips it in. It's a good ball in. Hughie Douglas goes up for it, and the keeper was a little bit lost, and they somehow managed to scramble it clear. It was Darrell Walsh who looked like he was trying to hook it over his shoulder, but the ball hung around a little bit longer than he would have wanted, and it was eventually cleared by one of his colleagues. Jake Hyland has it now as Cove push out, and it's all the way back to Odumosu. He knocks a long ball this time, and it's Brandon Birmingham out jumped by Darrell Walsh, and again it's come all the way back to Charlie Lyons. He puts his boot through it. Hugh Douglas gets his head to it, and it's a little bit scrappy. The referee, Mark Lynch, decides to give a free kick to the visitors. All in white tonight, of course, both sides very similar home kits, so Cove have worn their chain strip this evening. Derek Prendergast barking out the instructions. He wanted someone to stand over the ball until the defence was set, but it's been taken by Dave Hurley, the man who had that shot a few moments ago. That was just a little bit too high, couldn't keep it down, but Drogheda have gotten into it a little bit since then. And with 15 minutes gone, still 0-0, but things looking up a little bit for the home side. Dave Hurley has it, plays a little ball through, and it's with Lee Devitt, and it's laid back. Oh, it was Nathan Coleman just couldn't dig it out. He kind of lost his feet a little bit, and if he'd been able to get a touch on that and set it up for himself, he had a really good opportunity to get a shot away with his left boot. As it was, it just spilled away from him, and it was cleared. And here come Cove again. John Kavanagh, well, he's well charged down by Mark Doyle, putting the pressure on. Again, Drogheda have been trying to bring in that more aggressive pressing game in recent seasons since Tim Clancy's been here, and it's worked to good effect on many occasions. And it's flicked through to Chris Lyons. He's onside, is he? Yes, he is. He gets away. It's a penalty, surely. Yes, it is. Penalty to Drogheda. 16 minutes gone. Lovely little bit of fancy footwork from Chris Lyons. Just managed to get it away from the defender, and I think it was Charlie Lyons. He's the one that's appealing. Referee just took a minute to make up his mind. It looked like a penalty from here, certainly, and he made the decision within a few seconds, but he just gave himself a little bit of time to think it over. Lyons just shifted the ball from his right boot onto his left, and his standing foot was taken from under him. And as was the case in the game here against Galway, Drogheda United have an early penalty and a chance to take the lead. Chris Lyons, joint top goal scorer this season with Mark Doyle. Here's a chance to edge one ahead and put the home side in front, and it's well saved. A great save by Sean Barron. Down to his left, you could say, the old cliche, it was good height for him, but it was well placed into the corner. Barron gets the right way, and he has turned it away, and Galway scramble it clear. So I was saying they got the penalty against Galway early on, and it was Lyons that tucked it away. This time around, though, he wasn't able to convert. And here comes the corner. It's Jake Hyland swings in, and it's well claimed by Sean Barron. He'll be full of confidence after that one. Comes storming out of his goal, knocks a long ball up in the direction of Ian Turner, but it was well dealt with by James Brown. So a missed penalty for Drogheda United in 17 minutes from Chris Lyons. And it's a real blow. You can't afford to miss chances like that when you're going for promotion. You might just, if we get a moment, check on the scores in the other games that are going on at the moment. So it's a real disappointment for Drogheda. As I said, a lovely bit of play from Lyons. It was him who won the penalty the last day against Galway in that game a couple of weeks ago, and he tucked it away. I think he drove it down the middle, if I remember rightly, but on this occasion he tried to place it to the keeper's left, but Sean Barron guessed correctly and turned it away. So still 0-0, 18 minutes gone. Here's Conor Kane. And looking through the other games, no goals in any of the games. It was a long effort from, well, that was unbelievable stuff, really. It was Sean Kavanagh with the punt, and David Odumosu scrambling back. Looked like he had it under control, but then just palmed it around the post. Unbelievable stuff, really. That would have been an incredible goal. David Beckham, eat your heart out. To say no goals in any of the other games except UCD leading Wexford by 1-0. No goals here, and we've nearly seen 2 goals in the space of a couple of minutes. A penalty save and then an outrageous effort from distance. And it's going to be a corner for Dave Hurley. 0-0. 20 minutes gone almost here at United Park. Hurley with that left foot of his whips it into the near post. It's headed clear by Mark Doyle back inside his own area. Working to good effect, and it's come back out to Martin Coughlin. Plays it all the way back to Darrell Walsh, and he knocks it long again. And James Brown has got 2 for company there, and he hacks it up in the air. There's a late hit on Derek Prendergast. No malice in that, I didn't think. It was Lee Devitt who went in, but I'd say knocked the wind out of Prendergast, and it takes a bit of doing. He's a big man, and he's just picked himself up rather gingerly there, the big defender. As I said, in terms of defensive cover, Jack Chute injured with that knee injury, so that's a blow in terms of cover for centre backs, but thankfully Prendergast is okay. Now here's Chris Lyons. He'll be looking to make amends for that penalty miss. Such an influential player for Drogheda, works so hard. Even the days he doesn't score, he always makes a nuisance of himself and creates something for others. Wins plenty of free kicks, so much more to his game than just goals. Richie O'Farrell takes the throw in from James Brown, skips away from a couple of tackles, looks for a bit of help, gets it in the shape of his captain Jake Hyland. He plays it into Lyons on the edge of the box, just goes past him. Mark Doyle can't quite get onto it either. It was hacked clear by Ben O'Riordan. Here comes Conor Kane, comes inside, slips it into Mark Doyle. What's he going to do with it? He's going to take on his man, has a go, and it's a good save by Barron. But again, promising stuff from Drogheda. Nice play from Conor Kane, cutting inside. thought he might have had a go for a moment, but he's all left foot really. He would have had to have a bit of a swing at it, but he slipped it in neatly to Doyle. And his shot was well saved by Sean Barron. He's certainly been busy in the last 4 or 5 minutes. Didn't have a whole lot to do in the first 15, or in the first 10 or 12 minutes, but he's certainly been busy the last 5 or 6 minutes with that penalty save. And then that save from Mark Doyle. Knocked long, and again Hugh Douglas is up well. Knocks it down to Mark Hughes, and he knocks a lovely ball, loads of space for Brandon Birmingham to run into it. Charlie Lyons is coming across to try and close him down, and Lyons slips and Birmingham takes him on and goes past him. And is there going to be a chance here for Drogheda? Well, it was cut back, but just cross wires. Lyons wasn't exactly where Birmingham wanted him to be, and the ball didn't find a Drogheda man. But here comes James Brown again, just a little bit difficult for him to dig that one out. Sean Barron as well, gets his fist to it ahead of Mark Doyle, and knocked back in again. Cove just having to soak up a little bit of pressure here. And then Jake Hyland, well, it was very well kept in by James Brown. It was a loose pass from Hyland, and it's back to Mark Hughes. Drogheda look to start all over again. 21 minutes gone, almost 22 minutes gone at United Park, 0-0. If you've just tuned in, Drogheda missed a penalty on 15 minutes. Chris Lyons fouled, took it himself, and stuck it away to the left-hand side, but Sean Barron got down very well and turned it around, turned it out, and it was cleared for a corner. And then Cove almost scoring an outrageous goal of their own from inside their own half. But Adamosu had to push around for a corner, having been cut off his line. Now here's James Brown, and again he just can't quite keep it in play. As I said, there was a bit of rain here in the hours before the game, so the pitch is quite greasy, which is good from a passing perspective, but it does just mean that the ball is going to skip up off the grass a little bit more aggressively than it might on a dry evening. And as I said, Cavan-Healy's game in Bray is the one that the home side will be keeping an eye on. 0-0 in that one, and the only game in the Premier Division this evening between Waterford and St Pat's is also 0-0. Now here's Conor Kane. Back to Derek Prendergast. As I said, we'll just break away from that for a moment because James Brown is away down the right-hand side. Well, just couldn't quite get there, and he's holding his ankle now, and that's not a sight the Drogheda want to see. He got a bit of a bang in the game against Derry last weekend as well, but he played on, and he's just feeling his ankle a little bit, but he's jogging back into position now. This is, of course, the second meeting between the two sides this season. The opening game of the season was a 2-0 win for Drogheda down in Cove, and the goals coming from Chris Lyons and a penalty from Sean Brennan, who has recently retired. Of course, I wonder, has Sean Brennan been on the pitch, would he have taken that penalty himself? Possibly, possibly not. But he was here before the game. He's now part of the backroom team here at Drogheda United. He was chatting to Kevin Doherty, the assistant manager, as the sides were going through their warm-up. So Sean Brennan certainly still an influential figure around the club, in spite of hanging up his boots after many years of service for his hometown team. Here's Sean Barron, knocks it long. Conor Kane coming around in the cover there very well and gets his head to it. Jake Hyland was over him, and it's man on comes the shout for Richie O'Farrell, and he held on to it just a little bit too long, but he managed to get it away. He gets it back from Conor Kane, O'Farrell, and he knocks it against his own man, gets it back. A little bit of pinball there. Derek Prendergast, a nice little Cruyff-esque turn, knocks a great ball. Well, it was almost a perfect pass towards Mark Doyle, but it was well cut out. And cut out then again by Richie O'Farrell, and Drogheda again come away. Nice touch from Chris Lyons. James Brown is overlapping. Brandon Birmingham in possession. Cove flooding the jerseys back. Everyone bar their sole attacker Nathan Coleman at the moment, back inside their own half, and Coleman now back as well. And it's a good ball from Richie O'Farrell. Conor Kane down the left hand side, comes inside in his right boot. Is he going to have a go? He did, but it was blocked, and it's come back again. Richie O'Farrell just didn't make a proper connection with it, and it's gone for a goal kick to Cove Ramblers. 25 minutes gone. If you've just joined us, 0-0, and Drogheda missed a penalty on 15 minutes. Chris Lyons was fouled. He took it himself, and Sean Barron got down well to his left hand side to turn it away. And then just a few moments after that, Cove almost got a goal of their own. It would have been a contender for goal of not just this season, any season. A long lobbed effort from inside their own half, but Drogheda survived it. And it's Chrissy Lyons again, just trying to lay that ball off to Jake Hyland over on that far side of the field. Hyland closing down his man, and it's Charlie Lyons. Well, Sean Barron had come out to claim it, but Lyons wasn't taking any chances. I think that's the safest option. We've seen that happen over the years where defenders leave it for goalkeepers and the ball ends up in the net. Lyons wasn't taking any chances there. Row Z, or maybe row J here at United Park. Now here's Hugh Douglas, Derek Prendergast. Good ball across here to, well again, I say good ball, but he really challenged Conor Kane's control there, and Kane did very well. Looked like he was fouled there, but the referee says the ball was played. Here's Dave Hurley, who's cuts a bit of a Lee Trundle figure there in midfield. Blonde hair and good on the ball. Now James Brown over on that far side of the field. Well, he wins the throw in. So it's hard to know who of the two managers will be the happier. I think Stuart Ashton will be fairly happy with what he's seen so far from his side. Tim Clancy maybe less so, but they still should be ahead with that penalty chance. And looking at the bench, Adam Wickstead is back, Stephen Meany, Killian Phillips, Jordan Adiemo, James Clark, and Ryan O'Shea. So plenty of attacking options for Drogheda on the bench should they need to make changes late in the game. We're still a while off that kind of thinking though. 27 minutes gone. 0-0 at United Park. As I said, it's certainly turned a lot chillier in the last couple of weeks. The evening's getting darker and shorter. Floodlights on here from early on as David Odumosu lets one go long. Again, Chris Lyons holding off his man and trying to win the header, but on this occasion he was just beaten to it. Hugh Douglas and Derek Prendergast in close proximity, taking care of the threat posed by Nathan Coleman, but Coleman has it back well. He was trying to weave his way through the gap and shunted into the back of Derek Prendergast. David Odumosu gets it into his hands and tells everybody to calm down. As we approach the half-hour mark at United Park, Odumosu lets one go long again in the direction of Chris Lyons. He's outsized as he normally is by the centre backs, but that doesn't stop him making a nuisance of himself every week, and he wins his fair share of aerial battles by virtue of his backing in and getting his body in the way. That's why he's such a key player for Drogheda. Here's Jake Hyland, knocks the ball in. Mark Doyle gets his head to it. Well, he did very well there, Doyle. It was a difficult ball to take, and to get it anywhere near the goal didn't really cause Sean Barron any nervousness, but still a good little ball in from Hyland, and on another occasion maybe that could have looped into the top corner, but this time around no danger posed to the Cove Ramblers goal. Again, here's Dave Hurley dropping deep for possession, and his ball was straight at Jake Hyland. Cove won't want to be giving the ball away in those sort of positions. Here's Hyland now again down that right hand side, which is where a lot of Drogheda's chances have come from. Not clear again. Hugh Douglas gets it, lays it off to Mark Hughes. Back to Derek Prendergast. Hughes again. Conor Kane over on this near side calling for it, but Hughes turns away towards the dugout and is forced back into playing it back to his keeper. Good pressure from Cove there. Dave Hurley tries to control it with his studs, just gets away from him, and it's cleared first time by Hugh Douglas. It's gone out for a throw in to Cove, and Tim Clancy telling Hugh Douglas to relax. Just was a little bit hasty with his clearance there. He could have taken a touch, but decided to put his boot through it and went out for a throw in over on the far side. Tim Clancy clearly feels that the defender should have just taken a touch and gotten the ball down and played it around a little bit, but clearly felt he just wanted to get it out of there. And again, Dave Hurley's lost possession in a dangerous part of the pitch. It's a couple of times now the midfielder for Cove has given the ball away in a dangerous spot. A late foul there. Referee says play on, and now he's going to bring it back. And once again, Chris Lyons, I think I saw a statistic that he was, maybe it was just anecdotal from Tim Clancy, but that he was the most fouled player in the division. He can't be far off it, because certainly anytime we see him here at United Park, he's on the receiving end of a fair bit of abuse. Nothing overly malicious in that one. It was just a slightly mistimed challenge. Referee's calling Dave Hurley over. He's had a testing 5 minutes or so. Hurley's given the ball away a couple of times. Maybe that was just an indication of frustration. It's a little hand tap with Chris Lyons, so no ill feeling there. Now here's Jake Hyland. Similar position to where the James Clark goal came from a few weeks ago. against Bray, when it was cleared to the edge of the box, and a little trap and volley from Clark, but it's whipped into around the penalty spot and it's flicked over. It was headed clear there by Darrell Walsh. It's got his head on it and it's gone out for a corner to Drogheda United. And make it their third corner of the evening. And it's Jake Hyland again to come over to take it with that left foot of his, so it'll be an outswinger. This time around, Mark Hughes is staying back to keep his two fullbacks company because Cove have kept two men up. And it's whipped in towards Hugh Douglas, and he gets his head to it, but it's dropped for Derek Prendergast. Well, he just probably the wrong man in the right position there, Prendergast. Here's Jake Hyland, gets his cross in, hanging up a little bit, and it's over the bar. Well, as I said there, dropped to Derek Prendergast in a very dangerous position, but just probably not where you want the centre back to be. He was just up for the corner, but if it had fallen to possibly Brandon Birmingham or Richie O'Farrell or someone like that, he might have gotten the shot off, but unfortunately for Prendergast, he just wasn't able to control it. And the brief moment of danger passed. 32 minutes gone here at United Park, 0-0. If you've just joined us, the main news of the evening, I suppose, is that Chris Lyons missed a penalty on 15 minutes. He won it himself, a lovely little bit of footwork inside the box, and his penalty down to the left of Sean Barron was well saved by the Cove goalkeeper. Cove almost scoring a goal of their own, as I said, from inside their own half. A long lobbed effort that David Odumosu just about scrambled back to turn around for a corner. But other than that, there haven't really been too many clear-cut openings here at United Park. And it's a throw in over on that far side of the field to Cove Ramblers. So they look to create another chance. As I said, they've given a good account of themselves here, Cove. They started the season very poorly, but they've had those two back-to-back wins in the last two league games, one of which was a somewhat surprising win against Longford, who are obviously going for promotion themselves. I can tell you that we mentioned that game down at the Carlisle grounds. We'll come back to that in a moment. Well intercepted by Hugh Douglas. Well, his former side, Bray Wanderers, have taken the lead against Cabinteely. It's 1-0 to Bray against Cabo. UCD 2-0 up against Wexford. Longford leading Shamrock Rovers 2 by a goal to nil, and Galway leading Athlone by a goal to nil. So this game here at United Park, the only game in the division without a goal, and in the Premier Division, Waterford are leading St. Pat's by 2 goals to nil. And here comes Brandon Birmingham just trying to sneak in there, but it was well cleared by Charlie Lyons. Just made what was not quite a last-ditch tackle, but had Birmingham gotten away from him, there would have been a real opportunity for Drogheda to sneak ahead. And it's going to be a free out to Cove. So 1-0 to Bray down in Carlisle grounds. That's good news from Drogheda's point of view, but of course it would be much better news for them if they were to get a winner of their own here, or a win of their own here this evening. Long time to go, of course, in both games, so we won't count any chickens just yet. Cove have been more than adequate tonight. They've been quite impressive and kept possession well at times. And there's another long ball from Dave Hurley. Conor Kane scrambling back. It was well headed clear by him. So with just 10 minutes or so to go until the half-time whistle, throw into Cove down in the corner. It's back with Martin Coughlin, and now it's Ben O'Riordan. Again, he's forced to go all the way back to Sean Barron. He puts his hands out as if to say, someone show for me, and decides to knock it long diagonal ball over towards, it was James Brown challenging for it with Darrell Walsh. And it's gone out for throw in to Drogheda United. James Brown looking for someone to make themselves available. And the referee tells him to get back a little bit. He was just creeping forward a little bit too much there. And it's Darrell Walsh, the man who was challenging for that ball a moment ago, wins the header. And it's another throw in again. James Brown to take it, gets it back off Jake Hyland, plays it into Richie O'Farrell. He extricates himself from trouble well and plays it over here to Conor Kane again, marauding down this left hand side. Mark Doyle comes short from. He's been put under a little bit of pressure. Doyle has to go back to Derek Prendergast. Over to Brandon Birmingham on that far side of the field again, a little bit, or rather Jake Hyland a little bit loose with his touch. Well, he got lucky there, Jake Hyland, has to be said, because It was a handball, and the ball just popped up and hit the Cove player on the arm. I don't think it was deliberate, but the referee gave it, and if that hadn't been given, Drogheda might have found themselves in a little bit of trouble. Breathing a sigh of relief there was Jake Hyland. He gets it back here, the Drogheda captain, into the face of his Cove opponent, and he got a kick in the knee for his troubles as well. And here's Stephen O'Leary, slips the ball into Lee Devitt, the man who got that little belt off Jake Hyland, and it's gone out for a goal kick, beats them both. And David Odumosu in no particular hurry. And he trots across to the far side of the goal. You generally see goalkeepers, if the ball has gone out wide on one side of the pitch, they'll bring it across to the other side of the goal. I'm not sure if it's a superstition or just to eat up a few seconds, but time wasting at this stage wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. But maybe Drogheda just want to get things going down this left hand side, and Mark Doyle challenges for it with John Kavanagh, and well, he put the hand up for the throw in, but it's been given to the visitors. John Kavanagh pointing to the spot that the referee wants him to take it from, and it's Stephen O'Leary comes short, gets it back, Kavanagh knocks it long, Nathan Coleman flicks it on, and it's come to Ian Turner and was well closed down by Hugh Douglas. The ball looked like it was going to go out, but it was spinning viciously, stayed in play. It's back to Ian Turner again, and he's been hassled and harried there from by Conor Kane, and it's gone out for a throw in to the home side. Conor Kane to take it as we approach the last 7 minutes or so of this first half. 0-0 between Drogheda United and the visitors Cove. That Chris Lyons missed penalty on 15 minutes, the real talking point from Drogheda's point of view. And it's now it's Brandon Birmingham coming away with it down this right hand side again. It's the right hand side that they've posed a lot of their threat in this first half, Drogheda. And Jake Hyland just getting a toe to that one and taking this thing out of it, and it's come back to him again. And Brandon Birmingham, and did a little double drag back there and a yellow card. And Tim Clancy's not one bit impressed over on that far side of the field. He needs to be careful himself, because he got a yellow card last week himself in the game against Derry. And again, without the benefit of a replay, it didn't look like a particularly high challenge from the Cove player. But it was certainly just nimble footwork from Brandon Birmingham that took it away. Didn't quite see which player it was that got the yellow card, but we'll update you on that one shortly. The Drogheda players were very quick to surround them and surround the referee, but the yellow was probably the right call. And it's another free kick for than Jake Hyland. Hand goes up again. This time he plays it short to Chris Lyons in the edge of the box, and it was he had Dave Hurley beside him, and the referee said play on. Just wasn't able to shake off his marker there, Chris Lyons. I'm surprised there that Hyland didn't throw it into the box as is what he usually does. On this occasion he decided to play it just to the edge of the box, and Lyons just not able to outmuscle Hurley, who's a big man himself. And again, it's played in direction of Lyons. This time it's well intercepted by Charlie Lyons, his namesake. And again, Mark Hughes went in with the challenge there, and a big roar went up. He won the ball cleanly. And there's a couple of Cove officials down underneath us here shouting at the referee that he's having a shocker. I think that's a little bit overly dramatic. And it's all the more audible when there's no supporters in the ground. And Chris Lyons gets a kick there, and now the referee's going to have to take a little bit of action here, I think, because have been just one or two loose challenges. He's not going to show a card on this occasion. It's Martin Coughlin this time around. Okay, so it was Martin Coughlin, we believe, that got the yellow card, so he'll do well to keep himself out of trouble for the rest of the game. But again, as I said, just a few not overly malicious challenges, but just some slightly aggressive challenges going in the last 5 or 10 minutes, which when you have a few of them in quick succession, it does tend to raised the temperature of the game a little bit. There's another one there from Richie O'Farrell. His boot was up. Again, no real malice in it, but just when you get a few challenges like that together in the game, it does tend to raise the temperature a little bit, as I said, and players and officials and managers can all get a little bit wound up. Maybe half-time break coming in 4 minutes or so is no bad thing. Just allow everybody to cool down a little bit. Dave Hurley, meanwhile, it's a great ball, and it was the first time attempted across. James Brown cut it out. And again, that left boot of Hurley's into the space. Tim Clancy will be concerned that Cove were able to find such room down that Cove left-hand side, Drogheda right. But certainly haven't had things all their own way here. Drogheda, and again, Hugh Douglas skies it, and Tim Clancy didn't look too impressed with that bit of play from his defender either. Just got under it a little bit, but it's worked out okay. It's going to be a free kick to Drogheda United. 0-0 here, 41 minutes gone. It's a good ball into Chris Lyons, and he looked like he was having his jersey pulled there. The referee says play away. Dave Hurley has it again. Little pirouette, plays it outside him, and the attempted pass in the direction of Nathan Coleman was blocked. And it's going to be a throw in on that far side of the field, bang on the halfway line to Cove Ramblers. It's the temperature certainly dropping a degree or two as the evening goes on. It's very chilly up here on the gantry here at United Park, but it's hotting up down in the pitch. And here's Mark Hughes. Jake Hyland not able to get onto it, and it's gone out for a throw in. Hyland just taking a moment to catch his breath. He looks like he got a bang in the ribs, maybe, or into the chest. He's looking a little bit uncomfortable. Richie O'Farrell gets up and wins the header. Hyland still not looking particularly at ease. It's dropped back to him again, and it's Brandon Birmingham taking possession, holding onto it well. It's back to Hugh Douglas, and again Douglas knocks it long, and it's noticeable that every time he does it, Tim Clancy turns away, not looking overly happy. I don't think he's too impressed with the distribution of his centre-back Douglas, who's been such a rock from defensively, but his distribution out of defence maybe not to the liking of his manager this evening. But as I said, without Jack Chute on the bench, out with a knee injury, doesn't really have too many other options when he looks at his bench in terms of experience, unless he was to maybe rejig the team a little bit. And again, he seems like he's having a word with Hugh Douglas to just calm down on the ball a little bit and take his time. And it's going to be Douglas to take the free kick as we enter the last 2 minutes of the first half. 0-0 still, but Drogheda United missing that penalty on 15 minutes. Chris Lyons winning it, and then it was saved well by Sean Barron down to his left. Handball there, it looks like, but referee doesn't give it, and it's Drogheda United playing on. Chris Lyons surrounded by 3 players there, somehow manages to come out with the ball and lays it back to Derek Prendergast. He takes it in, controls it, looks for a teammate, finds Conor Kane. Always available for the pass down this left-hand side, Kane. Challenge came in from Stephen O'Leary. And it's back with Derek Prendergast again. Looks long for Mark Doyle. The hand goes up from John Kavanagh looking for offside, and the flag does indeed go up. And with about 40 seconds left in this first half, you would imagine we're going to be going in goalless. And we will bring you the half times, or as close to half time as we can get from the other games before we break off for our half-time cup of tea here. I hope. Might be ambitious. Cove have gotten things underway. 1 minute of time to be added on. And it's Jake Hyland once again who has it, knocks it down the line. Again, a little bit overhit. Drogheda have just played in spurts in this first half. They haven't really gotten anything that impressive going as a shot comes in there, and it was Lee David with it, and it was easy for Odamosu. But as I said, Drogheda have had spells of pressure, but haven't really clicked into gear. And certainly are capable of playing much better than this. It's still 1-0 to Bray Wanderers at the Carlisle grounds. Derek Daly, incidentally, with the goal in that one. And 1-0 to Galway away to Athlone. 3-0 now to UCD against Wexford, and Longford leading Shamrock Rovers 2 by a 1-0 in Tala. Whipped in the near post, and it's Prendergast with the header up again, and it's hacked away And that would appear, well, they still have it. Here's Brandon Birmingham. I was going to say it's their last chance of the first half, but this is surely it now. Birmingham looks for a little bit of help, has to turn back, gets his cross in. It's come over to Mark Doyle, just gets away from under his boot, just slid off the grass. Doyle gets it, and with that, a little bit of pressure from Drogheda, goes to half-time whistle. So 0-0 here at the break at United Park. As I said, the best chance of the first half, undoubtedly, of course, that penalty for Drogheda United, which was won by Chris Lyons on 15 minutes. He stepped up to take it himself, as he did against Galway in the game here a couple of weeks ago in the league. He tucked it away on that occasion. This time around, unfortunately, the keeper got down to his left to make the save, and with that went Drogheda's chances of taking the lead. A few moments after it, Cove almost took the lead in a almost freakish way, a massive lobbed effort from inside their own half that David Odumosu just managed to scramble around for a corner, and the Cove players just having a word with the referee, not quite sure what they're arguing about, but they're not happy about something. But in any case, 0-0 here at the break, and just before we break off for the half-time gap, we will tell you that it's still 1-0 to Bray Wanderers against Cabinteely, 1-0 to Galway away to Athlone, 4-0 now to UCD against Wexford, and Shamrock Rovers are trailing Longford by 1-0 at half-time. And in the game between Waterford and St Pat's in the Premier Division, it's half-time in that one, and it's Waterford leading St Pat's by 2 goals to nil. That's just about it from the first half here from United Park. For myself, David Sheehan. We'll take a little break, a little interlude, get ourselves a cup of tea and try to warm up, and we'll be back for the second half in around about 10 minutes time or so. Do join us then.
Briscoe's Megastore, Drogheda.
I always say I'll go anywhere provided it's forward, and this time we have to go on from here. They had a dream, and that dream has come true tonight.
Briscoe's Megastore, Drogheda.
League First Division game between Drogheda United and Cove Ramblers, 0-0 at half time, but the story of the first half from a Drogheda point of view was that missed penalty from Chris Lyons on 15 minutes. He won it himself, as he did against Galway. Unfortunately this time around wasn't able to produce the finish he did against the Westerners. It was well saved by Sean Barron in the Cove Ramblers goal, so 0-0 at half time in this one. The other result, or the other scoreline from a Drogheda perspective that would be of interest, is that 1-0 lead for Bray Wanderers against Cabinteely down at the Carlisle grounds. And of course Cabinteely come here on Monday, and we may have a change for Cove. We'll bring you up to date with that one in a moment. It's Greg Henry who's come on. I'm just getting a word on who came off in a few moments, but we are underway for the second half, and big 45 minutes really for Drogheda United, given the nature of this truncated season. They really need to be winning the games against the teams below them, and they had the opportunity to take the lead in that first half, but unfortunately for Chris Lyons he wasn't able to convert that penalty. But they were very lucky a few moments later when John Kavanagh had that lob from inside his own half that almost caught David Odumosu off his line. So maybe 0-0 at half time wasn't the most unfair scoreline. An early attack from Drogheda at the start of the second half comes to nothing, and it's going to be a goal kick to Sean Barron, the hero of that first half from Cove's perspective with that penalty save, like I said. And we'll have a look around and see who has made way for Cove. Just say Greg Henry is in, but not quite sure. I think it might be, it may well be Ian Turner possibly that's gone, but we'll let you know as soon as we have that one figured out. And it's going to be Cove coming forward again. Well, it's gone all the way through, and I think in fact it's Martin Coughlin who's gone off, the man who was on a yellow and then was possibly fortunate not to pick up a second one, so he's made way, and Greg Henry has come in. Great bit of takedown there from takedown play from Chris Lyons, and he's let Brandon Birmingham away down this right hand side. Birmingham coming inside, a little bit of fancy footwork. It looked like a handball there for a moment, but it just squirted up and hit Lee Devitt on the arm. The referee didn't give anything, and it's gone out for throw in to Drogheda United on this near side of the field. Mark Hughes, number 45, on his back. I'm not quite sure if there's any significance to that number. He had worn number 4 in previous seasons, Hughes, but opting for 45 this year. And maybe he's a frustrated striker and he's a little plus sign between the 4 and the 5, a la Ivan Zamorano. It's gone out for a goal kick over on that far side of the field. You're very welcome along wherever in the world or in Ireland you're listening in. I'm sure we've got plenty of Cove supporters listening in here, listening to LMFM's live broadcast of this game, and also being broadcast on Drogheda United's YouTube channel. So we welcome all our listeners or viewers wherever you are in the world. 0-0 here, 2 minutes gone in the second half. Tim Clancy quickly throws the ball to Conor Kane. Drogheda look to up the ante early in this second half and get that elusive first goal. But Cove, as I said earlier, have given as good as they've gotten in this game. Drogheda have had a few half chances in the first half, but aside from the penalty, didn't really cause Cove too many problems. Sean Barron had a couple of saves to make, but routine ones at that, and David Odumosu at the other end had something similar to do, so neither side particularly dominant or can claim to be too unhappy to be level, because I don't think either side has really done enough to take the lead just yet. And it's going to be a goal kick to Drogheda United. David Odumosu to take it, and he lets it long over in front of the dugouts again. Mark Doyle jumping for it, and Doyle, when you watch Drogheda every other week, as I do, he seems to be the target for a lot of those goal kicks. Nice little bit of nifty play there from John Cabinet. Likewise from Dave Hurley. It's gone out for throw in over on the far side of the field to Conor Kane, underneath that floodlight pylon. And he throws it back to Derek Prendergast. He has a look up. Play straight into the substitute Greg Henry. And it's Mark Doyle now with it. He slips it through to Brandon Birmingham. Real chance here for Drogheda United. Can he tuck it away? Another great save from Sean Barron. It was Birmingham that slipped through the gap, and it was well saved by Barron, but again maybe the Drogheda player will feel didn't make the goalkeeper work hard enough. He spread himself well, Barron, and it was certainly a good save, but Birmingham would be disappointed with his finishing there. I would suspect you'd have to back yourself to tuck it away when you get through in those positions. And again, Tim Clancy cutting a frustrated figure over on that far side of the field. But Drogheda will be looking to turn the screw a little bit now and get themselves a little bit of a spell of domination and try and break the deadlock at the early stages of the second half. And a big hello to, well, just we break away from that one for a moment. A big hello to Niall Kerr. I know he's a big Drogheda United fan listening up in Raheny in Dublin. Hello to you, Niall. And he had his son in for his tonsils out earlier in the week, so I hope he's making a full recovery, and he's no doubt getting plenty of ice cream in from him. That's what you do, isn't it, when you have your tonsils out? So here's Jake Hyland with the corner, with that left foot. Again, it'll be an outswinger from the Drogheda captain, puts the hand up, floats it in towards the penalty spot. It's headed clear. Good bit of defending there. I think it was Ben O'Riordan, and he's gone down in a little bit of pain. He's a tough campaigner, and there's a long ball through the middle. David Odumosu well out of his goal there, but I'm not sure he needed to, and he's going to be caught off his line well. If Greg Henry had taken that on with his left boot, the Drogheda goalkeeper might have been in a little bit of trouble. As it is, a slip from Charlie Lyons has presented the ball to Chris Lyons, and he's had his legs taken from under him, and again he's frustrated, and it's going to be a yellow card for Charlie Lyons. And Chris Lyons very frustrated there. He just bit of pressure early in this second half. We have just about 7 minutes gone in the second period, and it's another corner for Drogheda United. And again, it's Jake Hyland, the in swinger this time. The left foot from the right hand side, hand goes up, flicked on at the near post. It was Derek Prendergast who tried to get ahead to it at the near post. Hugh Douglas was following in behind them. Neither of them really could get anything significant on the ball, and James Brown has been penalised for pushing the back on Stephen O'Leary, and a little bit of aggro breaking out here again. There's just been a few occasions in the game where tempers have become a little bit frayed, but referee Mark Lynch calling Richie O'Farrell over to him, along with Greg Henry, bearded substitute. And just because we can hear often what the referee is saying, just try and have a little listen there, but couldn't quite pick it up. But he was having a stern chat with the two lads. Hughie Douglas, well, just managed to grab the, and that's going to be a goal, is it? Well, I don't know. I haven't seen something like that in quite a while. It was Nathan Coleman. David Odumosu cleared it, and in fairness to Nathan Coleman, he was a good 5 yards away from Odumosu. Odumosu tends to drive the ball quite low trajectory-wise when he's clearing it, and the Cove, you might be able to pick that up on the mic, but and I hope you can't pick up the profanities, but the Cove officials below us are certainly not happy about that at all. They were incensed by that decision, because the ball ended up in the net, as you would have seen if you're watching, and Odumosu can count himself lucky. Again, I'm not, he's going to show a yellow card now to Nathan Coleman, the man who got the block on it. And again, we do apologise if you picked up any of the angry comments from the Cove officials below us. Not sure if they're officials or supporters who have managed to get on the team bus, but certainly not happy beneath us here. And Drogheda United can count themselves very fortunate. I'm not sure what the exact rule is on that one. I haven't seen a goal like that given in a long time, so I suspect the referee, by the letter of the law, was right. But if you weren't watching and you're just listening in, Odumosu was clearing the ball off his hands, and the Cove attacker was about 5 yards away, probably, around about that, and did turn his back on it to attempt to block it, I guess, but it hit him in the back and went in. The referee very quickly blew the whistle. There was no hesitation from him, so certainly be an interesting one to dig out the rule book on that and have a look at it, because I know you're not allowed to charge down a kick on top of a keeper, but when you're a little bit of a distance away like that and it hits you, I'm not sure what the rule is. But in any case, it hasn't worked out for Cove Ramblers, and Drogheda can breathe a sigh of relief. 10 minutes gone in the second half, and it's 0-0 still somehow here at United Park. We've had missed penalties, we've had lobs from inside Cove's half in the first half that almost ended up in the net, and now we've had a disallowed goal and a substitution here. It's Darryl Walsh who's making way, and it's see now in a moment who's come on. So Walsh makes way, and it's number 19, Conor Joynan, the man who started the cup game last week. He comes in with 11 minutes gone in the second half. So two substitutions now made by Stuart Ashton. 0-0 still here at United Park. Early stages in this second half. So Drogheda, it's been a funny sort of a game from so far. They've missed that penalty, but they've also ridden their luck on a couple of occasions. And there's been a little ball through by Chris Lyons. Mark Doyle just couldn't get onto it. Ball bounces back down off the roof of the clubhouse over on the far side of the pitch. And it's going to be a throw in to Drogheda United, all the way back to Derek Prendergast. Has a look up, and it's gone all the way through safely from a Cove perspective for a goal kick to the visitors. And I might just take this opportunity to have a quick look at the latest scores from the other games in the First Division. Well, it's incredibly now 6-0 to UCD against Wexford. Still 1-0 to Bray against Cabinteely. Longford are now leading 2-0 against Shamrock Rovers 2, and it's still Galway United leading Athlone by 1-0 in Athlone. Now here come Cove Ramblers again, surely feeling fairly stung by that disallowed goal, rightly or wrongly. And they'll feel they were hard done by, but Drogheda United come away with it. Mark Doyle was dispossessed there, and it's come back to Derek Prendergast all the way across to Hugh Douglas. And again, we were looking at the bench in the first half, and the likes of Adam Wickstead, Stephen Meany, James Clark, possibly Jordan Adiemo could come on here and spruce up the Drogheda United attack should it need changes. And it's going to be a throw in to Cove over on the far side of the field. Jake Hyland just being put under a little bit of pressure. And again, as I said, Drogheda just not quite clicking into gear in this game. Cove have made it very difficult for them and played plenty of good football of their own, so we shouldn't dismiss that, because the visitors have given Drogheda plenty of food for thought. As I said, they've had a good run of form recently, those 2 back-to-back wins, so the confidence will be up, and they certainly put in a good performance in patches here tonight. But Drogheda United still looking to make the breakthrough. A bit of a tug on the jersey there on Brandon Birmingham. Referee didn't give anything. Greg Henry a little bit slow to get rid of it, and he was caught in possession, and then it was Dave Hurley who fired it beyond his man and into touch for a throw in. James Brown takes it to Jake Hyland, gets it back. It's a little bit of a bouncy one for Brown to take, and all he could do was help it on towards Brandon Birmingham, and he then was out jumped by Lee Devitt. Derek Prendergast knocks it off to Conor Kane. Mark Doyle comes short, and it's a first time ball from Mark Hughes down the line, but again it's a little bit too hot for Conor Kane to get onto. Good header from Derek Prendergast into Jake Hyland. Drogheda just struggling to get the ball onto the ground. James Brown finally has, and then it's passed to Brandon Birmingham. Brandon Birmingham just lost his footing. Very slippery surface here now with United Park, between the rain we had before the game and the dew. It's starting to form as well, of course, into the autumn. It's gone very dark around United Park. Floodlights illuminating the pitch here, and it's Greg Henry again for Cove, with a quarter of an hour gone in the second half. 0-0 if you just joined us here on LMFM. And of course we'll be back here again on Monday night for the visit of Cabinteely, which promises to be a really interesting game. You'll be able to listen to that game once again with myself, David Sheehan, on lmfm.ie and the LMFM app. So do join us for that one, but we've still got a good half hour or so of football, and it's all to play for here. Still 0-0, and it's been one of the more dramatic 0-0 games I've seen in quite a while, with that missed penalty in the first half, and then if you saw it, that charge down on David Odumosu that ended up in the net, but it was a disallowed effort, much to the annoyance of Cove Ramblers players and officials. Here comes Drogheda United again. Brandon Birmingham's getting plenty of room down this right hand side, and he may well capitalise on it before the game is out. He's laid it off to James Brown. He gets a shot in, punches the ground in anger, not happy with that one, and it's safely into the hands of Sean Barron. And it's been a barren evening for Drogheda United as far as goals have been concerned so far, and all thanks to the Cove Ramblers goalkeeper with that penalty save. But here comes Dave Hurley again. He's been a busy figure in that midfield, certainly the playmaker. It's obvious to see when he gets on the ball, he generally tends to look for forward-looking passes. He's not interested in playing it sideways. And here come Drogheda again, and Brandon Birmingham just was trying to play Conor Kane in down that left-hand side, but he underhit it, and it's come all the way through to Barron once again. And as I said a little bit earlier, this would, if it stayed like this, would be the end of a run of 7 wins Drogheda have had against Cove. They won their last 7 clashes against the Cork side. You have to go back to that playoff second leg in 2016 for Cove's last win. That was a 2-1 win here. But so far tonight, neither side managing to make the breakthrough. And it's throw in the direction of Lee Devitt, or rather Nathan Coleman, the man who picked up the yellow card. And after that goal was disallowed. And a nice bit of play there from Conor Drynan. Plays it across. And it's a good bit of play again. Slightly risky there from Ben O'Riordan stepping out with the ball, but he managed to get away from two Drogheda players. But now they've been caught in possession on the halfway line, and here comes Chris Lyons deep for a striker, but Conor Kane galloping forward again down that left hand side. The man who's played every minute, the only outfield player to play every minute of every game this season for Drogheda United. The other player in that bracket is the goalkeeper David Odumosu. But Conor Kane, in spite of playing every game and every minute of every game, he showed signs of fatigue. It's like a train up and down that left hand side. In towards Hugh Douglas. Well, it came back up off his arm, did it? No, referee says play on. It was Stephen O'Leary who completely missed his kick. The ball bounced up. It looked like it might have hit him on the elbow. To be fair, it would have been a very harsh call if it had been given, and no one even appealed for it, so I suspect it might have looked like it hit his arm from here, but it actually didn't. In any case, it's gone out for a goal kick to Drogheda United. 18 minutes gone in the second half. 0-0 between the hosts and the visitors. And it's a long way to come for Cove, so they'll be delighted if they can head back down the road with a point, or maybe even 3 in their back pockets. And still 1-0 to Bray against Cabinteely. So Drogheda will be, well, they'll be fairly disappointed if they can't get a breakthrough here and win this game. Given how that game is going, they might feel like it's a missed opportunity, but they can't really complain too much about how things have gone. Couldn't make a really strong case for them being in front. It's been fairly even aside from that penalty, as I said. Of course, you expect to stick penalties away when you get them, but I think, in fairness, you'd have to say Cove are good value for a point at this stage in the game. With 20 minutes gone, so 25 minutes to go, and it's usually around this time that Tim Clancy starts to look at his bench between the 65th and 70th minute. The substitutes are all out warming up at the minute, so we wait and see what changes the Drogheda manager decides to make, if he does indeed opt to make changes. Mark Doyle comes back and keeps it in play. He just nipped in front of his man there. It was John Kavanagh, the Cove captain, who had that speculative lobbed effort in the first half. But, well, as I said, it would have been the goal of any season if it had gone in. But David Odumosu, who's had a few hairy moments tonight, lived to breathe again. A long ball towards Mark Doyle, and well, Doyle would have done extremely well if he'd controlled that when it was coming over his shoulder. And couldn't quite take it down. And again, Cove with Stephen O'Leary here, trying to come out with the ball, and they've lost it inside their own half. So again, Drogheda have a chance to apply a little bit of pressure. Christy Lyons comes short, but takes it on his chest, lays it off well to Conor Kane. He plays it into Jake Hyland. Lovely one-touch stuff from Hyland into Mark Doyle. Turns back onto his right foot into the near post, cleared, and well cleared there by Charlie Lyons. And well, they were appealing for a corner. The referee says play away, and it's well, there's a chance now, and it's Nathan Coleman. He's through. Is he going to score? Yes, he is. Nathan Coleman, the man who had that goal disallowed a few minutes ago, sticks it away. And again, it was a little bit of hesitancy inside their own half there. A couple of Drogheda defenders went for the ball. It managed to squirt through to Nathan Coleman, and he tucked it away. So with 66 minutes gone in the game, Cove Ramblers take the lead, and you can't say they haven't been good value for a goal at some point in the game. But Tim Clancy will be very disappointed with the way that chance came about, because there didn't look to be a whole lot of danger, and all of a sudden Coleman found himself played in, and he stuck it very well and very convincingly past David Odumosu. So 1-0 to Cove. And And as I said, Drogheda with those 7 wins on the spin against Cove, that record looks like it's going to be under serious threat now with just about 23 minutes left in the game. And Drogheda are going to have to make changes surely now. They haven't really caused Cove too many problems from an attacking sense. And again, that ball overrun, it's gone out for a goal kick, and you can be sure that Sean Barron will be in no hurry whatsoever to take this one. As I said in the first half, he brings it from one side of the goal. Well, actually he's stopping. I take it back. I thought he was going to make his way over to the other side of the goals, but he's stopped, and he's going to stroll up and take this one at his leisure and knock it down the field. This would be a really sickening defeat for Drogheda to suffer if they weren't to get something out of it. But they still have plenty of time. Just haven't managed to create any real clear-cut chance. They've almost gotten in a few times, but the best chance really from them in open play was that Brandon Birmingham opportunity a little bit earlier in this half when he really should have finished it off. But Barron made the save, and when Nathan Coleman got in, he made no such mistake. Almost looked to stick it to Odumosu's left and then whipped it back to his right, and there's a change being made, and it's Brandon Birmingham who's making way, and it's Mark Wickstead, or Adam Wickstead rather, coming on, who has been out injured for on and off for quite a while. He missed a lot of last season with that dislocated shoulder, and he then had a groin problem that he picked up in training a few weeks ago. We were chatting to Tim Clancy after the Galway game, and he said he hoped to have Wickstead back for the Wexford game. He wasn't quite back for that, I don't think, but he's back in action here, and he's certainly a welcome addition to the Drogheda United lineup. It's a free kick in midfield there, foul by Greg Henry, and it's taken by Mark Hughes. Drogheda really need to up the ante here in the last 20 minutes or so, because they really don't want to be losing points in any home game, but certainly against the Cove side that, albeit as I said they are in good form more recently, they haven't been in great form across the course of the season. Elongated, and the gap is between the fixtures, obviously between the earlier part of the season and now, but they would have certainly expected to get all 3 points, I'm sure, here, Drogheda, but as it is at the minute, it's not looking too good for them. 1-0 down with just over 20 minutes to go in the game, just approaching the 70-minute mark at United Park, and it's a throw-in over on the far side of the field. And Cove will be in no hurry to take it, and why would they be? What they have, they will certainly hold, or try to. And Drogheda will be desperate to at least get a point out of this one now at this stage. But they have a lot of work to do if they're going to get that, because Cove have been defending very resolutely, and Sean Barron, as we said in nets, has had a really good game. He's dealt with anything that's been thrown at him, and so it's a throw-in over on the far side of the field to Cove Ramblers. Taken short to the goal scorer, Nathan Coleman. Chrissy Lyons gets it back though, and lays it off to Mark Doyle, and he just ran out of room over on that far side of the field. Throw into Cove Ramblers. Just a little bit of a lull in the game. Cove just trying to slow things down, and why wouldn't they? They won't be in any hurry to take any restarts, whereas Drogheda will be desperate to get the ball back in play and win it back. Conor Kane gets his head to it. It's knocked into the path of Stephen O'Leary, but he's lost possession, and now it's James Brown looking up. He has Adam Wickstead in front of him, and Wickstead challenge, and it's going out for a throw in to Drogheda United. Mark Hughes again very deep. Jake Hyland likewise. His pass just about managed to squeeze past Nathan Coleman. Drogheda playing it out from the back. It's not without its risks, as we know. It's the same sort of style of play that Stephen Kenny is trying to introduce to Ireland, and it does have rewards, but it has risks as well, of course. James Brown flicking a lovely ball through to Jake Hyland, just couldn't get onto it, and it overran him, and it's Hugh Douglas who gets his head to it, and it's knocked it towards James Brown. He helps it on, it's all he could really do. And Adam Wickstead closing it down. Well, the ball didn't look out to me, I must say. I thought he just kept it in, but the linesman is in a better position than me to judge it, so he's given a throw in to Drogheda United as the substitutes continue to go through their warm-up on the far side of the field. The Drogheda subs, that is. And Mark Hughes just having to stretch his legs a little bit to get to that one. Gets it out to Conor Kane. And again, he's got 3 players inside, Doyle being one of them. He gets it, Richie O'Farrell has it taken away from him, and then a nice little bit of footwork there from Conor Drynan. And Hughie Douglas gets his head to it. Once again, the Cove officials below us not happy. I haven't been happy with a lot of the referees' decisions in this game. I don't think he's had that bad of a game this evening, Mark Lynch. A few 50-50s, but by and large, I think he's done okay. The big controversy, of course, from that block down clearance from David Odumosu that ended up in the net that wasn't given as a goal for Cove, so that's where a lot of the frustration is coming from their perspective. But I think the referee, by the letter, was probably correct to disallow that one. It was immaterial in some respects, and so far as Cove took the lead a few moments later from the same man, Nathan Coleman. And here he is again. He's got Derek Prendergast at his back, but he manages to hold off the big Drogheda centre back, and it's knocked forward towards Stephen O'Leary. He manages to take it away from Hugh Douglas, and again, it was a little bit too easy for Stephen O'Leary there. A couple of challenges came in and no one managed to take it off him, and David Odumosu claims the ball gratefully. His bright orange jersey tonight, and we are into the last 17 minutes or so. And Drogheda United really in desperate need of an equaliser here. They still have plenty of time. We saw in the game against Derry last weekend how they kept going right to the final whistle, Derry City, and they got their not 1 but 2 goals, so there is still plenty of time for Drogheda. But they haven't really, with the exception of that Brandon Birmingham chance in the second half, created a whole lot. And there's a second change being made here, and it's Jordan Adeyemo who's coming on, and it's Richie O'Farrell who's gone off. So 2 of the substitutions made now, and both of them attacking changes as you would expect. We saw Jack Tudor introduced a few weeks ago when Galway were the visitors here and Drogheda were trying to hold on to a 1-0 lead, but this evening very much the opposite is the case. They're trying to get back into it, and Adam Wickstead and Jordan Adeyemo on now to try and break the deadlock. And it's a free kick to Cove, pull back from Chris Lyons on the edge of the Cove Ramblers box. So again, that will just be another few moments eaten up by the visitors, a little bit of respite for them. And I would say that Sean Barron will be knocking most of these balls long from now until the end of the game, as they try and just keep the ball down that end of the field and away from danger. Long ball in the direction of Conor Drynan. He wins the header well, but there was nobody feeding off him, which is just as well from a Drogheda point of view. Came all the way through to David Odumosu. Hughie Douglas knocks a long ball up towards Jordan Adeyemo. He flicks it on, and just as was the case 20 seconds or so ago from the Cove end, there was nobody running onto it from the Drogheda perspective this time around. And once again it's come through to Sean Barron. He knocks the ball long, and it's gone off Conor Kane for a throw in to Cove Ramblers. Into the last 15 minutes, Drogheda United 0, Cove Ramblers 1. Goal coming from Nathan Coleman on 66 minutes. If you've just joined us, Drogheda United missed a penalty in the first half. Chris Lyons' effort on 15 minutes was saved by Sean Barron. And it's been a fairly eventful game in spite of the fact that we've only had 1 goal. And here's Adam Wickstead as Drogheda look to get this elusive equaliser. Slips a lovely ball through, and the flag just goes up. Chris Lyons did bend his run, but not quite enough. And the flag went up on this near side, and we're going to have a third change for Drogheda, and I wonder will it be Chris Lyons that comes off. He's run his legs off again this evening, as he does every other week, and we'll just wait for the board to go up. And it's well, the referees now telling the board, the fourth official to put up the board, and it is indeed Chris Lyons who's coming off. He's worked his socks off again this evening. And there's another change as well as Jake Hyland comes off and James Clark has come on. And I think Ryan O'Shea as well. In fact, it's Stephen Meany, I should say. It's come on. So Stephen Meany and James Clark in for Chris Lyons and Jake Hyland. So Drogheda really throwing everything at it to try and get back into this game. A lot of attacking talent on the pitch now. Of course, we have four men across the front line at this point now. They've got Adam Wickstead, Stephen Meany, Mark Doyle and Jordan Adeyemo. And we do see this occasionally when teams throw on a lot of players in the attacking third. It doesn't always work out in their favour. I suppose the most famous example from an Irish football point of view was the famous game against Holland back at Lansdowne Road when Jason McAteer got the winner and Holland ended up with about 6 strikers in the field at the end. Didn't work out for them, albeit it certainly was a backs to the wall performance that night from Ireland or that day. Not quite backs to the wall stuff from Cove. Hasn't required that yet, but we do still have just about 12 minutes left, and Drogheda really haven't shown much in this second half in the way of creating chances. They've had a lot of the ball, but Cove have dealt pretty easily with the threats posed by the home side. As I said, the exception being that Brandon Birmingham chance when it was well saved by Sean Barron. Birmingham will be disappointed with his finishing, but aside from that, you couldn't really say that Drogheda have been robbed by any means in this one. It's been a fairly even game, and Cove getting that opportunity in the second half and sticking it away. So conversion of the chances, the difference between the sides at this point in time. Hughie Douglas gets his head to it. Jordan Adeyemo, well, he was shunted into the back there by Ben O'Riordan. Referee gives the free kick. O'Riordan isn't happy about it, but then centre defenders rarely are when they're penalised. And again, Drogheda, rather than taking time and knocking it into the box, they get the ball going again. And that's very much the Tim Clancy MO. Get the ball back in play and get it moving quickly. Stephen Meany lays it back to James Clark. Back to Mark Hughes, lovely little spin. Gets away from Stephen O'Leary and it's back to James Clark again. Plays it into Mark Doyle down the left-hand channel. Doyle cuts inside and it was well intercepted by Ben O'Riordan, and he managed to save it from going out for a corner as well. So doubly good play there from the big defender. And it's just about kept in by Conor Kane on that far side of the field. And well, again, both sides giving the ball away. Cove won it back but gave it away straight away to Hughie Douglas. James Brown has it. Here's Adam Wickstead down this right hand side. Will he look to take on his man? He does. Gets his cross in, does he? It's Lee Devitt. He's up against crosses. Comes in. The cross comes in, but Sean Barron once again stretches high to pull that one down, and he's had a really good evening here tonight, the Cove Ramblers goalkeeper. He can be very pleased with his evening's work, and it's well won back there in midfield and it's played in towards Stephen Meany. Here's Adam Wickstead, looks around for a bit of help, gets it in the shape of Mark Hughes. Here's James Brown, back to Hughes. James Clark comes short for him, and he got that wonder goal against Bray a few weeks ago. Could do with something similar from him tonight. Played in towards Jordan Adeyemo, and again Barron comes out, uses 2 fists. He probably could have gathered that one into his chest, but he was taking no chances. And it comes back again to Mark Hughes. Drogheda just getting a little bit of a stranglehold on possession of the edge of the box. Nice little touch from Wickstead. Plays it through. Stephen Meany. Is that a penalty? No. He ran into the Cove defender, but nothing doing. And in fairness to the referee, I think he probably got that one right. It was a collision more than a foul, but it's the old cliche you have seen them given plenty of times. And maybe the fact that he's given them one penalty already, he was less inclined to give them a second. But in any case, here's Adam Wickstead, nicks it through the legs of the defender, gets away from him. He's looked lively since he come on, Wickstead. Back to Conor Kane. Will he have a go? Looks at his options. The sides will have a shot, and it's gone out for a corner kick. And the Cove officials below us, who were roundly abusing the referee earlier in the game, are pacing up and down very nervously. Corner comes in. It's an in-swinger this time around. Jake Hyland, of course, has departed. I think it was James Clark that hit that one. And it's Mark Hughes who wins it back. Drogheda again just pinning Cove back now. This is the best period of pressure they've had, and well, Adam Wickstead probably, albeit it was well inside his own half, or well inside the Cove half, you could probably call it a professional foul of sorts, because there was a break on should Cove have wanted to push on. And they will again take the opportunity to eat up a few seconds here, and we will take an opportunity to have a quick look at the scores from the other games that are going on at this moment in time. And well, I can tell you that it's now 2-0 to Bray against Cabinteely, so that may soften the blow a little bit for Drogheda tonight, as there's another change for Cove, and it's the goal scorer Nathan Coleman is making way. And we'll just wait and see who's coming on as the referee waits for the substitution to be made. So Nathan Coleman departs, and it's a very slight looking figure coming on in attack for Cove Ramblers, and it's a throw in. It's number 20, Christopher O'Reilly, who's come on. It's 2-0 to Bray against Cabinteely now. Cove leading 1-0 here, as you know. 8-0 to UCD against Wexford. It's a hammering for the men from the southeast, and it's Shamrock Rovers 1, Longford 2, Athlone 1, Galway 4. So some good away results on the cards tonight in the First Division, including this one here as it stands. Cove Ramblers leading by 1-0. Lovely flick through there by the substitution. Substitute Christopher O'Reilly nicked it through nicely there for the other sub, Conor Drinan, and he has won a corner, and that will be music to the ears of the Cove players and management. Just over 5 minutes left, and very much at this moment in time looks like it's going to be a disappointing evening for Drogheda United. They just haven't clicked into gear really this evening. They have had their chances, but not too many of them. And the corner comes in, and in fairness to Cove, in spite of the fact they're leading by a goal to nil, they still have pushed plenty of players forward. And it's beaten them all though, and it's gone out for a throw in. And really it was somewhat of a hospital pass to Mark Hughes. He was under serious pressure when it was thrown to him, and all he could do was knock it down the line. Sean Barron puts his boot through it for Cove, and it's headed back then by Derek Prendergast, well taken down by Stephen Meany. He tries to play through to Adam Wickstead, and it was a nice idea, but just a little bit too much on it. But that was a nice bit of play for Meany, and Drogheda have certainly looked a little bit more sprightly since they've introduced the substitutions. I suppose you would expect that to happen, but they have looked a little bit more likely to create something. But they haven't managed to make that breakthrough with 5 minutes to go. As I said a little bit earlier, a reminder that the game against Cabinteely here on Monday night, we will have that game live for you on LMFM as well. And that's looking like being a really vital game with this shortened season. Both sides will be looking to, as it stands, bounce back from defeats tonight, because, as I said, Cabinteely are 2-0 down against Bray. And Drogheda losing 1-0 here against Cove. We have just under 5 minutes of normal time to go, so into the last throw of the dice stages of the game from a Drogheda United point of view. James Brown takes the throw in, James Clark, Adam Wickstead, it's come off Wickstead, it's going to be a throw in to Cove. It's been one of those evenings for Drogheda, they just haven't gotten the breaks, and every little 50-50 at certain stages of the game just seems to have gone against them. But as I said, Cove has been really good and have given plenty of it in this. You couldn't say it's been a smash and grab by any means. Cove have been definitely worthy of a draw, and you can't argue with them leading 1-0, because as I said, they just take that chance that comes to them in the second half, something that Drogheda haven't done. So with just about 4 minutes left now, corner kick to Cove down to our left hand side. Once again, rather surprisingly, they've pushed quite a lot of bodies forward, although they've got two men hanging back on the edge of the box and then two in the centre circle, so they're not throwing the kitchen sink at this one by any means, and why would they? That's a nice bit of hold up play there in the corner from Dave Hurley, and he's got three players around him for company, and the referee gives a free out. It doesn't seem to me in recent times that when a player tries to waste time in the corner like that, the referee usually finds a reason to give a free kick against them. And we have seen occasions in the past where maybe 20 years ago or so somebody would end up on the receiving end of a two-footed tackle, but those days are gone. And referee giving the free kick to Drogheda, and they try to come out with it, but again they've given it away, and Cobh have won it back, and it was a dangerous ball to play through in the direction of Christopher O'Reilly there from Greg Henry. The two substitutes almost combining to create a second goal for Cobh, but Drogheda have come away with it again. Good charge down from Mark Doyle. Now can Drogheda engineer something from this? Doyle, he's got Meany and Wixted in the box. It's come back to Mark Hughes, and or rather to, it was Mark Hughes in fact, and he just dragged the shot wide. But you just feel it's one of those evenings where it will take something spectacular like that for Drogheda to get back into this game, because they just haven't managed to create a whole lot from open play. Maybe a pot shot from distance is their best bet at this stage, but that one came to nothing, and we're into the last minute and a half of normal time here at United Park. This will be a really disappointing result for the home side, but as I said, they do have that big one against Cabinteely coming up on Monday. But for now they'll be focused on the job at hand, and they're running out of time here at United Park this evening, trailing by a goal to nil. If you've just joined us, goal in 66 minutes from Nathan Coleman. Chris Lyons missed a penalty in the first half for Drogheda. He was fouled and he stepped up and he put the ball down to Sean Barron's left hand side, but Barron got his hand to it and it was cleared for a corner. So that was the ideal start for Drogheda had it gone in, but just maybe a portent of things to come this evening for them. Hasn't gone their way at all, and Hugh Douglas again swings his boot at the Drogheda bench. Management all sitting down now. They look pretty resigned to a defeat, but here comes Conor Kane. He won't give up until the game is over, you can be sure of that. Here he comes galloping forward. He just runs out of road though. He didn't have any support, and he's charging. Well, Mark Doyle is charging back now. The referee gives a free kick to Cobh, and it's looking like a lost cause at this stage. We have 10 seconds of normal time to go, 4 minutes though to be added on, so that's a little bit of a lifeline for Drogheda. 4 minutes, so there is a little bit of time left yet, but it would surely be a remarkable save for them at this stage if they were to dig it out. But of course, as I said earlier, they did concede 2 late goals against Derry, so maybe the pendulum of fate will swing back in their direction this evening and they'll snatch a late equaliser. But as it stands, Cobh have a throw in, and they look very calm and composed. And this will be a result that will take them on to 14 points. But the teams above them, and the shape of UCD and Bray, are winning tonight as well, so they may not gain too many places in the table, but certainly it'll be a confidence boosting win for them. It'll be 3 wins on the bounce in the first division for Cobh, so their form really on an upswing. Drogheda's their form of late hadn't been bad. They've won their last 2 and they're unbeaten in their last 5, but they need to rescue something from this very quickly, and the referee is giving a free out there. Mark Doyle, well, it looked like a 50-50 challenge. The referee didn't like it and he's given a free out. It's, I think it's Ben O'Riordan that's down. No, in fact it's Charlie Lyons. Himself and his centre-back partner O'Riordan have been really strong tonight, as has the man with the ball in his hands at the moment, Sean Barron, probably man of the match for them for the penalty save alone, and then a few other saves he made across the course of the evening, and a few catches and crosses that he punched clear, so he's had a very good night. The man with number 30 on his back, and it's Hughie Douglas getting his head to that one. His former side doing Drogheda a favour of sorts with that win against Cabinteely, if it stays as it was earlier, but that won't count for much this evening for Drogheda, because they'll be licking their wounds after this defeat. 47 minutes gone in the second half, so 2 of the 4 added minutes have ebbed away, and it's going to be Derek Prendergast to throw back to David Odumosu, and he's been closed down by the very eager Christopher O'Reilly, the man who came on a few moments ago, and he skied his clearance a little bit. Odumosu, not really what he wanted. He would have been hoping to knock that one long. Now we have a minute and a half to go, so surely this is the last attack for Drogheda. They need to get something from this. Pushed everybody forward now, almost with the exception of the two centre backs. Everyone's in the Cove half. It's a great ball. Can James Brown get to it? It just gets past him and again skids off the greasy surface and goes out for a goal kick. And with that, you would say, is the last chance for Drogheda. We have a minute of added time left to play. Sean Barron will take his time over this one. You would imagine that that's game over as far as Drogheda's chances of an equaliser goes, and that's a massive kick from Barron. He's given it a serious thump down the field. It's come back to James Clark. He's knocked one long. Jordan Adeyemo was turning, trying to chase back, but again it's gone through, and Barron gathers it gracefully into his arms and collapses to the ground, bounces back up again, and wouldn't be surprised if the final whistle went with this kick. Another long booming clearance from up into the darkness, drops back down again. Derek Prendergast gets his head to it. Hughie Douglas tries to help it on. It's come back here to Conor Drynan, the substitute. He was going to have a go at it, but makes a beeline for the corner flag, where he'll try and eat up a few more seconds, and it's gone out for a throw in to Drogheda, but I think that will be it. Yes, it is. It's all over here at United Park, and it's ended in a disappointing result for the home side. 1-0 to Cove Ramblers, the final score here at United Park. That penalty from Chris Lyons that was missed in the 15th minute really coming back to haunt Drogheda United. They had a couple of other chances in the game, notably Brandon Birmingham's chance in the second half, which was well saved by Sean Barron, who, as I said, was probably man of the match from Cove's point of view and from the game's point of view in general. And Drogheda just didn't quite get their A game going tonight, and they'll be very disappointed with that one. But as I said, perhaps the one chink of light out of this one is that Cabinteely are currently 3-0 down to Bray Wanderers. It's full time between UCD and Wexford, 8-0 to UCD in that one. Incredible stuff there. And Shamrock Rovers have been beaten 2-1. Shamrock Rovers 2, I should say, have been beaten 2-1 by Longford. Meanwhile, it's at Lone Town 1, Galway United 4. So there are the results that are in so far. And in the Premier Division, rather, finished Waterford United 3. Or it's still going on actually in that one between Waterford and Pats, but it's 3-0 to Waterford, so all over by the shouting in that one. It is all over here at United Park. It's finished in a disappointing result for Drogheda United. 1-0 to Cove Ramblers, the final score. That goal on 66 minutes being decisive in the end, and Drogheda, as I said, just not quite clicking into first gear this evening. As I said, we'll be back here again on Monday evening. That game against Cabinteely now looking all the more important. Things really tightening up at the top of the First Division, and with only one team going up automatically, really top spot is the only place to be. So Drogheda United will be back here on Monday night against Cabinteely. We will be as well on lmfm.e, so do join us for that one. But for now, for myself, David Sheehan, for all of you listening in, thanks very much for joining us. Unfortunately, the result didn't go Drogheda's way tonight, but we'll be back again, as I said, on Monday, and hopefully things will improve from then. Have yourselves a very good weekend.
Briscoe's Megastore, Drogheda.